Evening and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from Green Dragon CVR in Woodbridge, Ontario, where we are here to talk to you again about fucking video games. On the eve of the fucking Xbox Series, whatever.
The release date?
Yeah, the release date. We don't have one. Do you have one?
We don't have one. I don't have one.
Well,
for sure.
fuck.
PS5, 2 more days.
Yeah, 2 more days. While we're waiting for ours to arrive from our... Anyways, it's not worth getting into.
No, probably not.
Well, in the meantime, though, we are playing Assassin's Creed fucking Valhalla, which includes a PS5 upgrade, interestingly enough, so I suppose it's going to be such that I can just take my progress over to the next fucking console.
Yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure they have, you can either transfer directly, or I know you can do that, or you can, I'm pretty sure you can pull from the save cloud anyway, from your PlayStation Plus.
You can. Ubisoft has that feature built in. But you know what, buddy? I got to tell you, I don't think I'm going to care much, to be honest.
Once the PS5 comes out?
At least in terms of bringing that over, like, it looks fucking sick. I just mean to say it looks really good. Like, the loading times are a pain in the ass, don't get me wrong, but
for
otherwise,
sure, yeah.
like, fuck, this game looks really nice. Like,
you know what?
It's beautiful. And the technical fucking, you know, limitations of the 8th generation console certainly didn't prevent it from looking like...
That's the thing.
Amazing.
I mean, we're
like,
already, we're at a point now where...
We're at the end of it, right?
Like, it's fucking, but... Still, to its credit, like, games obviously still look amazing. Like, I saw the footage on YouTube and I was kind of like, holy fuck, this is still running on a PS4 Pro and it looks beautiful. Like, I'm sure it looks better on the next gen consoles, but this is absolutely like nothing to complain about. It looked fucking, it looks amazing.
It's quite nice. And what I really like, you know, in comparison to the last iterations of Assassin's Creed from Ubisoft, was that they seem to have abandoned that by and large, the implementation of those RPG looter style mechanics. Like, your weapons still have a numerical damage score.
Yeah, like a DPS number or whatever the fuck.
They still inflict a certain number of damage. They still do, like, stagger points. They still have probably other stats that I have yet to encounter. And you can go to the blacksmith and upgrade how many times you can increase the amount of damage they do. So it's, in a sense, I suppose, not materially that different from having a looter style progression system, but what you do find when you fucking don't have that stamped on top, like, as the main feature, like the fucking heart of the whole game, you know, you kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, which itself has, like, you upgrade how much numerical damage each sword does, etc. But the game world is not constructed like an MMO, such that each zone is meant to, like, accommodate a certain like, you know, level of
almost like lock you out.
If you're not, I mean, like, I can't fucking comment on that yet in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Right, fair enough. We're
perhaps
too early on.
They do have, and even Ghost of Tsushima, like, it wants you, of course, to upgrade your gear by the end of the game. But the point is that it doesn't feel like the upgrades are driven by, instead of a consideration with your place in the game, with a, you know, concern with some artificial element that can be totally abstracted from it, such that you can totally fail to or totally conquer it beforehand, right? Yeah,
it just feels like it, once it's kind of injected in there, it really fucks with the, you know, the internal logic of the game, right? It just totally bungs it up. We've talked about this many times, right? It adds, like, an unnecessary layer sometimes, and not even always the case that it fucks it up. Like, plenty of games have level systems, but it's the easier way to, like, insert monetization, which then I'm
trying to parse exactly, though, that, like, difference between having, like, you know, your sword, like, do more damage when you level it up versus, like, a loot-based progression system like Destiny. Like, of course, every game tracks, like, how much damage you do in numbers and tracks how much health someone has in numbers, but I think the difference is it's very difficult to put your finger on, of course. You know, we're dealing in things, this is uncharted territory, actually, right? Like,
I guess, I mean,
beyond saying, like, it's the looter genre, what fucking words of wisdom does anyone have to offer on these subjects? But
especially we're not developers and we can't comment on the actual.
But if we had to assign a fucking specific difference to something like, you know, Destiny or The Division or World of Warcraft even, versus something like Dark Souls, where there are still, of course, you upgrade the level of your weapon, but there's 10 levels, right? Like, I guess we would say that one is technically a member of what we would define as that looter fucking, you know, progression system. Maybe it's not a genre, quite like open world. I would argue it's not a genre. I think loot-based progression is not a genre either, but
right.
I don't think like simply having numbers in it any more than having a fucking big map necessarily makes it open world progression or looter-based progression. I think like what makes it that is the sense in which you have a fucking infinitesimal like number of upgrades to attain. It's not merely like 10 or 12 or 5 like in Ghost of Tsushima, right? Like your gear will go on as long as the roll lets you go on.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
That interjection
gives you like that forever playability kind of thing, right?
That interjection of limitlessness, which is artificial in my opinion. It's not based on like a limitlessness of scope or of concept. It's a limitlessness of artificial gear score.
Yeah, like I can't remember which game we recently played. It might have been Mortal Shell or Remnant. Yeah, when you said at the last zone, or even like Bloodborne, they start giving you the materials you need to get a level 10 sword, and that's how you know you're like at end game, and at this point you should have a level 10 fucking upgraded weapon. Yeah, but not that it's just a blanket like level slow incremental fucking.
Yeah. It's nice then, like, okay, maybe we can summarize then. You know, it sounds like we've been fucking batting around points we're certain of, but I'd like to make it clear that I guess this is fucking us coming to a conclusion more than it is fucking positing a.
Is it the conclusion?
Positing a ready-made argument. Here might be something approaching a conclusion. Okay, so you have these fucking differences between games that have numerical progression, like Dark Souls, but they don't have infinitesimal progression, like an MMO,
right?
Like Destiny. Like, how do we characterize the difference between those two things? You know, it seems like when you fucking favor something like infinitesimal progression, you know. Instead of having like 5 upgrades like in Ghost of Tsushima or like 10 different levels of upgrades like in Dark Souls, you have instead like the gear score is what's at stake, and you can change that based on expansions or whatever else. You know? It seems like that introduces an element of artificial or at least exterior fucking progression.
Yeah.
It's progression that's motivated by something outside the fucking inner logic of the game. It seems like you can't really get around that point, right? Like that's built into this concept, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a takeaway from the mobile rise of things, right? Where they started injecting, you know, hey, here's this free download, but if you want to do fucking anything in it, you gotta give us some money, right?
That's right. Or if you want to play in the next 6 hours, you have to whatever.
That took like a mind of its own and you know, infiltrated our side of the fucking corner of games, right?
No, I don't like whether or not they have fucking pay to fucking actually play now mechanics in a game like this. Like the same logic inspires.
Right, even like, without them. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like
you posit this like spectrum, you know, and you say like you occupy it by default at this level, and with a certain amount of money, you could occupy a higher strata of it. Right, like a certain amount of money that you can attain by normal gameplay, and I guess that's, you know, like anybody would have rather suspected. Kind of shitty, right? Like,
yeah, it's definitely fucking shit.
On the side of coming in to play it, you know, like if you're playing something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or an experience I commonly refer to, like you don't want to fucking try and fight an enemy that's a higher level than you, right? Like the game made it such that you cannot succeed,
can't do it, right? Exactly.
Like, whereas the current iteration Valhalla here that I've tried, like you can fight an enemy on hard, which is the difficulty I'm playing. Based on my experience with Watch Dogs, actually, like it's
yeah, that was
difficult.
The turning point. This kind of was the discussion we've had about Ubisoft, and what's kind of also fed my fucking like distaste for them, right? Was that we felt a lot of these games were sort of progressing that way. They were injecting these fucking you know, the level mechanics and everything to monetize purposely, right? So now it's cool to see that.
It is cool to see that.
We're coming around on that.
I think there was a turning point in terms of like I really like Far Cry 5. I thought it was awesome. There was no, you know, loot-based progression.
Yeah, exactly.
Systems. Like maybe you could upgrade your guns or some shit, but it was incidental.
You could buy guns,
like any
right?
other fucking action RPG ever. Like you could buy guns, but
you
could buy the ones you unlocked
stories,
anyways. Yeah, it was very much like Legion as we described it last week. But after that, with Far Cry New Dawn, they implemented a loot-based progression system, quite like The Division. Like it was an MMO-based progression system. You had like a gear score, you know?
Which is fucked.
You had like 251, 252, 253 level guns all the way up to whatever, right? Wow. Like it wasn't like you had like, my AK, it's level 1 to 5, right? It wasn't like that, no. It was like MMO style, right?
Ridiculous, yeah.
And that fucking personally for me just janks it up. It's such that you got a level 1 gun and you're shooting a guy in the face
and it just doesn't do anything. Yeah. That doesn't translate well in a game like Far Cry. Like, come on,
buddy. It doesn't work well.
Yeah. But obviously, you know why they did it.
You know why they do. Yeah. And they had that in Far Cry New Dawn, and then they implemented that in that Ghost Recon game, and that shat the bed severely.
Or Break,
everybody was crazy about that stuff, so they sat down at the drawing board, and they're like, all right, we're going to delay a couple of things and rethink what's going on.
Yeah.
And I guess we're witnessing the fruits of that, in Watch Dogs Legion and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And while they do still have, like, fucking money stores, no doubt.
Oh, for sure.
It's such
handled better.
It's
almost trivial.
One thing though I don't like about this one, I could say for sure.
Okay.
You could, if you want, buy your way to progressing a full set of gear or armor, but again, it's like you want to buy all the material. Like, why would you play a game like this?
Yeah.
If you don't want to scour the map, you don't want to see things on there. You
defeats the whole purpose, right?
Yeah,
it's like what?
It's tough, right?
It's like just pay to see the end. What the fuck?
Whether or not you can fault the company for wanting to take advantage of that
impulse
in people is a different story.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's a good game is unaffected by that, and I think it is a very fucking good. So far, I mean, I only played a couple of hours of it. Don't get me wrong.
Fair, yeah.
Shit, the presentation. Firstly, one thing that's nice to fucking pay attention to is that the Animus storyline is totally relegated to the background. Like,
yeah,
just pop in. You're the Viking guy. When you die, it's like people talking in the Animus perspective, like, oh shit, his feet was cut. Like,
really?
Oh yeah. Or when you're picking your character, they're like, oh, who is it? Like the guy or the girl? That kind of shit. But it's
you know
not like
what?
Desmond Miles.
I prefer that.
Bullshit. Yeah. Oh, me too.
I prefer that. Yeah.
You go fuck off with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that shit. We mentioned that before, but so you pop right into that. The fucking whole story starts with typical, like, in my opinion, Ubisoft's strong point is telling a story that's not focused on a protagonist, but focused around a central tension represented by a villain like Voss.
Right,
Far Cry
yeah.
3, for example, right? Or fucking that guy in Far Cry 5, Joseph Seed, who everybody fucking thought was
the Assassin's Creeds with all the Templars and all the, I don't remember the specific ones, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it comes to that in this game too. The fucking game begins with you, the fucking main character, witnessing your fucking father being killed by this super jacked dude. His fucking arms are like the thickness of my body. I mean, he's supposed to be like, I am Tree Trunk Man. I fucking kill your dad, He snaps your dad in half. He fucking throws an axe at your mom. You ride away with a horse. And then fucking a wolf like fucking finds you and you're on the ice and it's fucking snapping at you and shit and it bites your neck. And that's when you have to choose like the character selection screen. So
holy shit,
it's dramatic. Like that's the intro. I was like, man, this is tight. Like, it's cool.
Wow,
it was beautiful. Yeah, and you pick, and then after that, like it fucking skips 18 years into the future where you're fucking trying to fuck that guy, that same guy up again, and he's captured you. You don't even get to see it. It's very interesting, like how they do it.
Yeah, it does sound pretty cool, man.
They show you this guy killing your parents. They snap forward to the future, and you're already beaten by him. He's like, God, you stupid kid. Wolf Kiss. They call you Wolf Kiss because a wolf bit your neck, but you didn't die. You don't see how you didn't die, but you didn't die.
That's cool, man. They leave a lot of vague shit there too. Like it's just it's fucking sick.
Tight. It's amazing.
I really want to play it.
Yeah, the story's cool, and he's like, he's gloating how he's gonna sell you into slavery. So you're getting on the slave boat and shit, and while you're doing that, you escape somehow. You fucking, you choke the guy out. You kill a bunch of people. You free your whole crew, and then you end up sailing back to your home village, singing Viking songs on the boat. 20 minutes later, it's an exhilarating game.
That sounds epic.
Just in the first few minutes, and then you go back to the village. You chat with all the weird fuckers there. There's a bunch of them. There's some strange fuckers. Some of them look like they're Spaniards or something. There's like some emissaries from strange places trying to play word games with you. It's drinking games. Like it's
got that vibe, eh?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
That Red Dead camp vibe and shit.
The first real quest is to climb up the fucking mountaintop outside your village, which you're going to soon progress with all of the quests in the game.
Right.
And you're going to talk to some CRS lady to fucking, I don't know, but it definitely has elements of like that weird supernatural
like
supernatural, like
mythical, mythological.
It's dealing with all of that, like from the very beginning, this supernatural element, like even more so than the entries I played before. Like I don't know if they're gonna wrap that up into that fucking kind of concept that the gods in Assassin's Creed 2 and the other entries were these Promethean, like pre-human beings. Like maybe they're dealing with
Are they
that,
still
but-
looking for the apple,
Yeah.
the Eden things?
Yeah, maybe like something to do
I
with
don't
that
fucking
shit.
know.
But like the main character, like he escapes his parents getting killed, and he's fucking being throttled by a wolf, and he sees Odin there, you know, with this wolf.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess Odin saves him or something.
I fucking, in my opinion, think that, and I've only played up until Brotherhood or Revelations, but I think them leaning more into the just staying in the sort of,
Yeah.
you know, historical part of the
Yeah.
game and leaving out that,
Yeah.
because it was never like a huge part of it, you know, it was always
was
like
goofy.
small gameplay sections.
It's
and
clever
like,
though. Like you find it's clever when you're in a loading screen, they use it as the justification
Yes,
for that.
yeah.
You know, or they
That I
have
like.
a fake
Yeah.
wall. They don't want you to go somewhere during a mission.
yeah, so it just,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
simulation
or,
cut.
the memory,
yeah.
like you know, that's
There
it's
are
clever.
elements that work
it's
well.
a clever
Yeah.
framework, but you don't want to fucking rely too heavily on it in the narrative. Like
Exactly,
That's
yeah,
you know?
that's-
I don't give a
I've
fuck
thought
about
that
Desmond Miles.
since-
Fuck you, right?
Since the first Assassin's Creed I played, and they didn't
too.
even say
Me too.
anything about that until like the day it came out or like a couple days before. I remember reading like people were
I know.
reporting on it, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? Like what?" The only time I actually liked it kind of was at the end of 1, I think it was. Some of Altair's like powers or abilities in the game were bleeding into Desmond, so like he walks in that room and you see all the writing on the wall. Like that I thought was like fucking cool, just because like it was kind of a mind fuck at the end of that game. But aside from that, I never really dug the fucking
I liked it as a framework, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly,
Again, a
yeah.
justification for the menus. It's a
Yeah.
good way to gamify something if you
Yeah.
have to, but like I
I'm
don't
okay
like
with
it
that,
when
yeah.
it intrudes on the storyline and stuff.
Exactly,
Like in
yeah.
number 2, it did that a lot.
It becomes
you know?
more like
In 2,
convoluted.
it was very intrusive, right?
Yeah.
You had to walk around some points
So-
as the guy. It was intrusive as fuck. I didn't like that.
This one, so far anyway, obviously not far in the game, but seems to have it kind of regulated to what you're preferring,
the systems
which is
are
nice.
based on like
right?
fucking accumulating resources and raiding fucking probably in the future recruiting more people to your crew, or maybe that you
Who
accrue
fuck
them
knows?
based on fucking, you know, augmenting your village and shit with resources. But
Better
yeah, man,
just to
all of the
fucking-
parts are there. Like there's this fucking Ubisoft utopia, you know, that I feel is described in both games like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like maybe we don't have to talk too much about the particulars of what you do in such a game, but like the concept of what Ubisoft is peddling you is very clear. And like, man, when you don't jank it up with numbers and weird artificial progression,
Bullshit,
like
yeah.
I do fucking really like it. It's great, man. Like
That's good to hear, though.
it's
that-
hard to
that-
say I don't like it. You know, you
Yeah.
can find in Watch Dogs like a third-person shooter equivalent almost with cover shooting,
Right,
actually.
yeah, yeah.
And you can find in fucking Assassin's Creed
Assassin's
Valhalla
Creed,
like a
almost like
Souls
a-
like
yeah.
combat version. You know, like it's cool, man. Even on hard mode, it's tough. Like the enemies will kill you in 1 or 2 hits, but they never hit you unless you're an idiot. Like
Just
they never
dodge
hit you,
fucking,
and you
yeah.
can hit them too, right? So it works out well. It feels good. It feels good
That's
to play.
good,
Like
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm into this. Like I'm playing it.
That's
the
sick.
boss takes me 1 or 2 fucking tries to beat because, you know, if you just beat everything
Yeah,
in
which
one shot
to
by
me was like Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah,
which is perfect.
yeah.
Like I don't want this
Yeah.
to be a Soulsian fucking orchestra.
a study.
But
like,
yeah, exactly.
no, you don't want to do that. But you do want it to resist you slightly. Like
Yeah,
it
you don't
doesn't
wanna
feel
just
good when everything just melts
melt
away.
through
Like,
it, yeah.
dude. Like the reason I get bored of things sometimes because you're just okay.
'Cause you're just on autopilot.
It's like okay, we're gonna play camp number 57. We have to take it over. Go in there, do that thing. Da, da,
Yeah.
da. They hit you. Okay, whatever. Da, da, da.
It's hard to fucking care, right?
Sometimes I prefer that, like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. I gotta have a heart attack. I can't believe, you know.
I was playing fucking the Bloodborne DLC last night, so I know exactly
I know
what you're
exactly
talking.
what
Oh
you're
man, and that shit is hard. That's like
Ludwig's a good boss.
I
It has the best bosses in some of the whole Soul series.
I
Easily.
bet, yeah.
Easily.
I'm gonna dive into that a little more before we
Sekira's
get
the best one though.
Yeah,
I should play that again. Just fuck every other game. There's only one game.
Sekiro.
Just one game. It's Sekiro.
Sick.
Yeah, it's the best game. New Game Plus. Didn't they add that? They added the challenge.
They
mode?
added a
Oh,
bunch of stuff.
fuck.
They added like I think a boss rush type mode or something.
That could just melt your life away. That game. You know,
yeah, I can't like.
That could be a full-time job. I bet. Eh? Mastering Sekiro.
Fuck, just running bosses on Twitch all day. I'm fucking.
But it seems like with the Assassin's Creed game, it's not unlike the Souls games in terms of how like the fucking core combat loops goes. Anyways, like you have the option to block if you have a shield. You can fucking dodge. You can fucking, you know, attack with R1 and R2 for a heavy.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of stuff. It even has iframe based attacks. It seems like you can cancel your attacks with a dodge, based on my intuition so far.
Okay.
It's exactly what you would anticipate, like a arcadey Souls like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's super satisfying to play, and like on the second highest difficulty, it's probably what I would think a normal difficulty would be.
Yeah, like a well-balanced, kind of hard, but not really.
Yeah. Maybe even like the normal on Ghost of Tsushima. You know, when you get hit once or twice, you die.
Yeah,
like,
Ghost of Tsushima, like, actually took me a little bit longer than like a standard game to get, you know, the kind of the hang of it. It felt a little different at first to me. Yeah. But it felt great once I got into it.
Yeah,
but
it's great.
Fucking Assassin's Creed Valhalla, dude. I totally wrote this game off before it came out. Too.
I did for Ubisoft, actually.
Yeah, like, exactly. But then Watch Dogs came out, and that sort of started the conversation, right? That was like, hold on a second.
We might be in the midst of some kind of like Ubisoft, at least, you know, if not resurrection, like a little bit of a revival of
at the very,
like it's storing.
At the very minimum,
thundering about, you know.
I would say they're gonna have a good start to this gen, probably.
Yeah, the problem is
if they can, you know, continue the course, we could see some fucking solid hits out of Ubisoft.
Yeah, I think
that would be nice, eh?
At least these two, shit.
I mean, fucking, it's hard to even say that because a lot of people like Odyssey, and well, you know, it was a fucking commercial success.
And like they're bad games,
right? But they're
except in the terms we're describing them in, like you did,
which is important to me.
The internal logic for fucking money, like
fuck that.
And the same for fucking that last one. So
like for me, that's like immersion breaking. People always throw around like, oh, this made me feel immersed. Like I'm not immersed in immersion breaking, whatever. That like totally just fucking takes me right out of it. When there's like you know, double XP boost, but like that's all right. Well, what is this? Like,
to me, it totally invalidates any of your actions moment to moment in the game. Why bother doing any of it?
Yeah. If it's relegated to a credit card purchase.
If you can fucking just not. It's not cool, man. You can't do that. There's something about that should not be subject to external forces, right? Like it invalidates the internal logic of the artwork, you know?
Mm-hmm. Fucking A, man.
To some extent, even in this game, they sell you things like material for upgrading your gear. Like, I don't think they should do that either.
Mm-hmm.
In Watch Dogs, they don't do things
like I can't get behind that. But if it doesn't
I don't like that.
Stand in the way of your progress as much in the same vein, then
it seems like you have too much shit already. Like
you could still play it and not find that you're struggling without buying it, right? That's what
Ubisoft doesn't seem like they ever push that shit. I mean, most of the games that I played, I never had that impression. I never bought anything in any of the Ubisoft games I ever played, and they always felt like even in Far Cry 5 where they had a premium currency, by the end I had tons of extra premium
so you wouldn't have even needed it.
Right? Like I don't know.
So the fuck is the purpose of that? Like,
I don't know who it's for. Maybe
is the purpose to boot up the game?
I'm not very good at video games. I don't know who it's for. Like, who it's for? It's not like it makes it easier. Like, I don't know who it's for.
Unless you boot up the game and literally before you even start the story, you're like, just buy shit and like gear up, and then like, well, why would you do that?
That's twisted, man.
That's some fucking, you know, that takes away from it.
That's some psychopathy, eh?
Yeah.
You gotta be fucking.
I can see it. Like, you can kind of make sense of it in like a multiplayer game because at least you want to beat other people.
I can't make sense of like wanting to go into something and buy your way to besting other people.
I agree.
To a false sense of satisfaction. That's masturbatory. But that's the definition of masturbation.
Oh, 100%.
Good for
that's
you.
The
like,
thing.
Okay.
Like, I see that in the mindset of people playing a multiplayer game because let's say you want to start right away with the best shit, go online day one and just wreck people. It's just like, again, like I don't see what the satisfaction is there. Bro. But people do that, right? People do that, man. People pay for hacks in games like CS:GO, Call of Duty, whatever, online. Like, it's like it's the saddest thing ever. Like, and at the end of the day, like, I'm fucking not even. I'm not as into multiplayer games as I used to be, but it feels good to fucking beat somebody just naturally. You know what I mean? Because you outsmarted them or you're just better than them. Like, in that sense, like, that feels better than, you know, paying to fuck people up. It's so weird. I don't know. I'll never understand that, but
I honestly, that twist, that to me is like,
it's just mind-boggling to you, eh?
I didn't know any of these things,
dude.
Man.
Yeah, I'm sure they have it for consoles too, but
that I fucking hear about the world that I just don't understand.
That's why we stick to playing video games.
Well,
what do you say we...
Holy fuck, I guess that's it. We blabbed for a whole lot longer than I thought we would about Assassin's Creed Odyssey and the minuscule amount we played of it so far. Shit.
Valhalla!
Potential topics, but it does look like Ubisoft has returned at least to something like a forum. Like, I was really bummed out at that whole, like, interjection of all of this.
Yeah, fuck yeah. How could you not be?
At this injection, excuse me, of these looter mechanics into every franchise that they operate. So it's nice to see that with both Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they've mitigated that element. And of course, well, you have numerical progression like you will in any digital product. I guess, that has progression at all. Like,
doesn't feel.
It's not a looter, man. It's not an MMO. It's not like, you know, get to fucking mission B or C by like fucking having this score. Like you have this what they call a global score based on how many skills you've unlocked. It doesn't seem to me like so inhibitive. You know, because on hard I'm fucking thrashing guys a few scores higher than me even now, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, I'm excited that at least, you know, some good Ubisoft titles are dropping, and it could be a return to form for them. So
return to form for Ubisoft, at least from my perspective. I've enjoyed the last few games, so cheers to that. Cheers to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Salud.
Cheers to that, and cheers to fucking next generation of video game consoles around the corner.
Next
today
episode, we'll be here talking
Thursday.
about Demon's Souls on fucking PS5. Cheers. We love you.